welcome back to Green Planet, Blue Planet podcast. I am Julian Guderlei, your show host, and today with me is Vesela Tanaskovic, a climate scientist who's currently in Dubai with a very audacious mission. Vesela is tasked to regreen Dubai's municipality by 10x until 2020. Welcome to the show, Vesela.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you. So I'm working on afforestation. This is something I've been working on ever since 2012, exactly. So I've started. This is my PhD. So exploring all the different methods on how to regreen the Sahara and to regreen the Sahara in order to sink the historical carbon. And if it is the best approach to geo-engineering, so to reversing the climate effects humans imposed on the planet. And so after years of research, it showed up to be the most safest way for now to go, just planting trees and planting trees in desert. And I focus on not planting any trees, but planting food forests, so multi-level agroforestry systems that are very sustainable in terms of feeding people, feeding the North Africa, which is one of the highest population rise on the planet now. I came to Dubai straight from California, from the Singularity University, where I spent my summer actually enhancing all my climate knowledge through a data platform created by one of my co-founders, who is a machine learning expert, Victor Pompini. Yeah. Wow. And now we're here in Dubai, actually addressing Dubai Municipality's challenge of greening 10x the areas of Dubai by 2020.
Wow, 10x the area of Dubai by 2020, and that is basically 2 years.
Yeah, that's really true. Yeah, thank God they have like species that grow super fast here, and there are local species like Moringa peregrina, local and endangered species, which can grow up to 10 meters per year. So we're good. We can do it. We're very confident we can do it. If we start this year, we can make it happen. And yeah, we're very lucky to be
Dubai
here.
is known for making decisions and acting on it. So how many working on
that? So it's 8 of us in the team, and we have a board of 15 mentors, different experts from different fields helping us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's super interesting. Where can people find out more about that?
Forestforfuture.com.
Forestforfuture.com.
Yeah. With so AFF, forestforfuture.com.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Vesela, I truly believe that everybody is some kind of superhero or has superhero-like skills. I really believe that all of us are equipped with a mission or a purpose, that when we tap into it, when we tap into this massively transformational purpose, we enable so much more power than we would in any regular job. And tell us a little bit about yourself there. Like, what do you feel called to, and how does that express itself in your life that enables an abundance of energy?
I know what you're talking about. Like, I really believe in MTPs, and for me, I think actually I found it very, very early, and I have to actually say something very cheesy, but I have to thank Cartoon Network for that. So I was very young, maybe 4 or 5, not really, when Captain Planetman playing on Cartoon Network. Do you know that cartoon? Yeah, so I was this oh, I think watching it on TV, oh, Captain Planetman, Planeteers, yay! So I really, I was a geek for that cartoon. I wouldn't miss a show. So yeah, I mean, always since I can remember about myself, the only thing I ever wanted to do is save the planet. I don't know, even sometimes I would question myself, are you saving the planet? For what are you saving the planet? Planet will always be there. There is no need to save the planet. You have to save the humans, or just question yourself. But yeah, I mean, working for the environment was always what I was working on.
Cool.
And now it's just getting more clear.
Person, I like it. That's really fitting, and I'm happy I'm not alone to call people superheroes, because we grow up with this world where there's superheroes all around us. So why not see them ourselves, right?
you know, I want to have this connection with my own planet. Like, it
Mm.
was like everything that's happening here. Yes, of course, we are shitting on our planet. This is completely true. But it was like, I want to, you know, I really want to connect with this planet. And now, with this exponential technologies and singularity being here and here, you know, we we really have this opportunity. And I think the more we connect with each other and with our like fellow living beings on the planet, animals and plants, we'll develop like higher levels of empathy. I really believe in that, and we'll have to be better human beings. It will just happen, and I think technology will enable that to happen. I really
Wow,
believe in that.
I love where you're going with this, because you're basically weaving nature and humanity and values and being like, as you say, better human beings, and technology all together into like forming our shared future. Um, Give me a little bit more about that. So how do you see that? Do you foresee us becoming possibly a multiplanetary species, going to the Pandoras that are out there, or do you think like our job is really like cleaning up planet Earth, or from a, I mean, you're a climate scientist, so it's
Yeah.
interesting to have you on this call and understand your perspective on all that.
Yeah. So like, I actually think that we need to become multiplanetary species in order to save humanity from any future cataclysmic events. We don't know what will happen. I hope that it does not happen because of us, but I think that we will have to save this planet before we go to any other planet. So I don't like going to Mars. Let's like shit off the Earth and let's just fly off to Mars. You know, no, I really think this is not the way. And we really have to take care of our home before we go out, and we have to make it really, really healthy. And we have to save as many species as we can from the largest extinction going on ever on the planet now, right now.
Mm.
And so I really believe that, yeah, this is the way. I mean, I see somehow that it will happen simultaneously, because I really think that technology will advance super fast in the next 10, 20 years and allow us to become empathetic to our surroundings. And it will also, like, for example, in Dubai now, you have a ministry for happiness and you have a happiness index. So like this just is like this is very important. Like how I feel, how you feel, it's very important to the government. And this is somewhere it's a good path. I like where this is going. And one of the things that is on the happiness index that they want to introduce, it's not yet, but we're talking to them now to introduce it, it's the green areas. So because seeing just green makes you happy. And especially for a lot of expats that are now living in Dubai, green, just the color, is something that's missing a lot. So if they put it on the happiness index, which we really hope they do, it will be good for our business, but it will also be very good for the planet, you know. And like we see something like that, I see it happening also in Europe. I hope it happens soon in Europe. This will just connect us more.
Yeah, it's something you just shared there made me think of a TED talk I watched with the at the time the mayor of Tirana in Albania. And I believe the story goes like this, that he had very small budgets to make a social impact in his community, because the city of Tirana didn't have budgets to abundantly spend on everything. So they decided to actually apply color therapy and paint big murals. Basically what they did is they just painted colors on former Soviet housing blocks, and the change of behaviors in the human psychology and the way people live with each other, like decrease of crime rates, decrease of psychological aids needed, like people were overall happier simply because they were exposed to more color and different colors. So I totally dig this. I think there's plenty of proof about that. But then on top of of just the color therapy, what you guys are doing in Dubai at this point is basically you're not just regreening, but you're literally bringing plant life and oxygen and a form of kind of understanding that, yeah, we are building cities around the world, but we're also part of nature. We are part of this cycle that that needs trees and plants as much as it needs humans.
Yeah. No, definitely. This is really what we're working on, and we really hope to be able to influence Dubai Municipality and laws in Dubai more. We are even thinking of like proposing some laws where they'll have to put like green facades, you know, on each building, because Dubai has so many glass buildings that they increase by reflecting the sunlight. They increase the inner temperature of the city so much.
Right.
You know, so if you like, if you put shaders or if you put better even plants, you'd save so much even electricity on cooling down the buildings, and let alone the inner city temperature. And Dubai is one of like the air in Dubai is quite polluted, so it's not a good air quality. So introducing new species, especially green walls, is a way to go, you know, for the city.
Wow, it makes me smile personally, to be honest, because first of all, trees make me smile. I live on the west coast of Canada in a rainforest, so I am a big tree lover. But you know what actually makes me smile is how simple it can be. Because I mean, we are a nature creature on a green and blue planet, which also happens to be the name of the show. And as we're building these high-tech cities, we are reminded at some point that if we are not in an abundant green zone, something is off, right? So let me ask a question here specifically. Are you guys also planning on growing food, or is it just green for happiness index and air quality? And
So what we are working on, so our core technology is a data analytics platform that is able to locate the areas all across the world which can be green within 5 years or less. So, and in this method, what we are doing is we are preserving water, growing food forests. So in Dubai, it's like an ecosystem restoration approach. So it starts by introducing local species and building on top of local species with new like agricultural species. So yes, we are planting food forests, and they're multi-level food forests. And it depends on the region and of course of the farmer's wishes what it will be producing, the food forest. But it's always connected to ecosystem restoration and benefiting the local ecosystem and endemic species in that region. They're always 60% represented, and the other 40% is for agriculture.
Wow. So multi-level, you said. So that means hydroponics and building upwards as well?
No, it's very much biomimicry. It's looking, if you look at now the native forest, like real forest, like primavera forest, it has usually some 7 layers. Yeah. So the first layer is the canopy. Then you have the mid-sized trees. Then the shorter trees or the shrubs. And then you have little like vines that grow up. You have the cover, so the ground cover. Then you have the root plants, and you have like the windbreakers, the tisks and shrubs that work like that. So these would be the 7 natural layers of the forest. And it's just picking within each layer, picking the correct species you want to bring into the ecosystem you're creating.
This is fascinating for me. I'm like totally mind blown because I feel like literally, and we talked about that before we started this recording. This is literally what I want this world to turn into. So I'm so glad it's happening.
I'm also very happy. Like for me, it's been an awesome ride. Like yeah, I finished my PhD research, submitted for the patent, and then it all began, and I still haven't had a chance to go to Vienna for like only a month to defend it. So I hope to do that very soon. But yeah, everything is like really fast, and I'm happy that people are open to this, and I'm happy that people are interested in supporting our project. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said something very, very remarkable there a couple minutes ago, that you believe in a multiplanetary existence. Yet what I heard you say basically is that first we got to, well, heal the planet or save the planet or clean up the planet. Or in other words, first we got to understand our own planet. And from what I've heard people speak about, from what I've read, from my own opinions I'm forming, and the people I have on this show, what I'm realizing is that as we're possibly becoming a multiplanetary species, I think we are inevitably going to reach this level of consciousness, this state of consciousness, this state of awareness that it takes to be in homeostasis, to be not just sustainable on a planet, but to actually regenerate the planet's energy even before we get to leave this planet. So I think, to be honest, in my own words, I think it comes together. It's like a shared path of leaving this planet and becoming aware of the overall holistic health of this planet. What I'd love to understand from you, Vesela, is like, you've just been to Singularity, now you're in Dubai, so you're kind of moving through the apex of our global tech society. How does that weave in with nature? Like how do you feel people receive nature and afforestation as a topic?
Yeah, I mean, I just have to go back to one point that you said about like us understanding the planet, because I really, really think you're like super right on spot there. Because I don't know if you know this, but Sylvia Earle, she's like this amazing Wonder Woman, scuba diver, scuba babe, the most accomplished scientist in underworld. She says something which is very much true. We know more about the surface of Moon and Mars than we know about the surface of our oceans. And this is like sad. Like, this is really sad. How come we don't know about our own planet? And yet we know so much about Moon, or Mars. So yeah, I think you're right. We have to understand our planet, and this is where technology comes in. In order to help and heal our planet, we have to understand it. In order for that to happen, we have to map it. We have to know it. We have to collect the data, and data is collected through technology, like the best way so far. So yeah, there was recently an X Prize open, and I think it's still running on the best like ROI, like underwater drone that goes and maps the areas. So it's still ongoing for all the people who are listening and may be interested. This is very important, I think. Yeah. And it's, for me, it's very important. Like, ecosystems and diversity of our ecosystems is very important. Preserving our ecosystems is very important. And yeah, so like connecting onto the oceans, a lot of people know how endangered the coral reefs are, as an ecosystem, because of climate change. I mean, because of the acidification of oceans that is happening due to excessive amounts of carbon in the air. But not so many people know that the desert ecosystem is the one that is the most endangered, because even though deserts were always very warm, this is the most fragile ecosystem that does exist. They do have plants, shrubs, animals, trees, everything. But now with little to no rainfall, where there was usually a season when it rained once a year, a little, it was just enough. Now there is none because of the climate change. So the ecosystem in the desert is now becoming even more endangered. Like, every day nearly you hear this species is now endangered, this species is now endangered. And the green areas are not rejuvenating, because we have such species in desert that regreen with each coming of the rain. They just regreen. They pretend to be dead, like they go into this like metastasis, or I don't know how to explain it. Like, they're half dead, half alive. But then with the first water, they regreen, and they're so long they do not. So yeah, I mean, for me, working on afforestation and desert greening is actually preserving the desert ecosystems and preserving the abundance of this ecosystem, and especially in like healing plants that we don't know. The very rich plants in terms of like medicine, nutrition, water cleaning. So like this native tree to desert is a genus called Moringa. It has 13 different species. From Moringa peregrine, which is native to Arabian Desert and Western Sahara and Eastern Sahara, to Moringa centelopea, which is like Sahel region, and Moringa oleifera, and all the others. So Moringa is considered by UN the tree that will save the 21st century. And it's such a like healthy tree. It's considered a superfood. everything's edible from roofs to leaves to leaf folds. The leaves have like, I don't know, 27 times more iron than spinach. They have so much vitamin A. They can be used to really like feed the humanity, to save the people from malnutrition, especially with like malnutrition in microelements, which is happening now all across America and Europe, where we have people that have like normal diets, but they're actually malnourished. They're obese, but they're malnourished because they don't have any vitamins. And this species is actually native to desert, and we should plant it. It's endangered, so we have to like help it grow. And yeah, so I love what I'm doing. Yeah, I love what I'm doing.
Wonderful. That alone gives us so much power. I love that you talk about moringa. I drink moringa tea, and it's certainly very delicious.
Superfood, yeah.
Highly recommend to anyone listening.
Yeah.
Have some moringa tea.
Yeah.
Cool. So we've talked a little bit about afforestation and technology and greening up the planet in that sense. I'd love to ask you my favorite question. This is a question I ask everybody who's on this podcast. And this question goes like this. If we as humanity had a shared vision, a shared human vision, a shared vision for planet Earth, like a 200-year vision, what would yours look like? How would your vision for planet Earth look like for the next 200 years?
For me, we'll green the Sahara by 2030. And we actually will do that by engaging the local communities. And I think we're on a good path to do that. So what my team is working on very hard is acquiring the resources, because we are an NGO, acquiring the resources to publish all the data and put it out for free with all the locations that can be green the fastest, and then engaging the local farmers that live there, not to work on the field that is like 10 meters in the desert, but work on this one because this one has much higher chances of giving high value crops and products. And then, so yeah, the Sahara, it will for sure be green, and it will be an abundant food forest. So I think we won't have any famine. But on the other hand, something that really is of my big interest is global governance. And because, of course, working in desert greening makes you work with a lot of governments, like we're working now. So the more I work with governments, the more I see that global governance is something that I'm super interested in. And yeah, I mean, I have a few like sidekick projects that I think are very important, and I hope to find time for them more. But it's how do we bring all the people together? What is this one thing that is now stopping us from uniting? You know, for me, it's the nation state. I do not see of a nation state. Because no, but
I'm
really,
celebrating
because
over here. I don't know if anybody could hear that, but keep going, please. Yeah.
No, for me, so I come from Serbia, yeah. So since I was 5 until I was 15, I lived through like 4 or 5 different wars, depending on how you count it, and it was all because of a nation state. It's not that I don't hate anyone from Croatia, from Albania, from any. I loved everyone. Like, this is why I don't consider myself a Serbian or an Austrian. I consider myself a global citizen. And the sooner we create a blockchain passport identity connected to UN, the sooner we'll all be able to renounce our national identities and become global citizens. And for me, technology is the thing that will enable this. So, like, yeah, blockchain is the thing. UN is already working on blockchain identity. The sooner they open the blockchain identity to a mortal and say, okay, if you want to be a UN citizen, you can, global citizen, or you can be your nationality. And I think at least millennials will all like rush to become global citizens, and I hope that they come very soon. Yeah, I mean, this is really, really important. And the other thing which is important for me is global taxation. Yeah, I think our governments all have to realize that we have to have a unanimous taxation system that will enable everyone. So if we want to have anytime soon the basic income, which I don't know if I'm pro or against because I don't see so much benefits in it, but we need to have a unanimous taxation system so that you don't have tax havens, which in some sense is Dubai as well, but that you are actually incentivized to pay your taxes, and then if it's a global government, they are redistributed equally everywhere in the world. No, it's very utopian, but I see.
Well, we're talking 200 years, so part of the last 200 years is because I enjoy to hear people's moonshots. I enjoy to hear people dream outside of the box of contextual agreement and the ways we grow up and the ways our minds are conditioned. Because yeah, I'm very much on the same page as you. Nation states they are a logic of the past, and I'm not saying they're wrong. Which possibly they are, but I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just that it's a system that was invented at a very different stage of consciousness, at a very different stage of humanity. And now that we have access to technology and the blockchain and decentralized realities, it just doesn't make sense anymore. And as you said, like you're Serbian, right? I'm German by passport and German Canadian by choice, and certainly see myself as a global citizen. And when I look into my actual identity, it's not a German identity, it's a cultural identity. It's a cultural identity to Europe, to Bavaria, to the world, to the places I've been to the food I was being offered, to the dances I was able to dance, to the music I'm listening to. And as you said, like I think a lot of people actually are so pure in their love, and like, yeah, I love everyone. This is something I want to stretch as well. But you know why we love each other? Because when we share food and dance and song, there's no reason not to love each other. It's only for the fictional identities of a country or a government or somebody in leadership that starts a war over something minuscule or obsolete that we actually fight, and we go into separation.
I think I always think, of course, there are so many possibilities, but what I see is like this two or one possibility in which we have this global governance and we have this very local, like very regional, like, I don't know, like city or like a little bit outside of city governance that work together closely, you know. And this is where you're coming, like the culture. Yeah, it's culture is what it builds you, you know. But then now, like for me, okay, yeah, I did live most of my life in Serbia, so yeah, I can say that culture-wise, I was shaped by that. But then the moment you change your surroundings, the cultures change as well, you know. So this is why I think we need to have this global nationality. And when you think about it, nation states are so young; they're like 100, 200 years old. Nation states did not exist before that. There were kingdoms and stuff like that, but nation state is its current formation is a very, very young thing.
Absolutely. And then there is this phenomena of the overview effect, right? When people leave the atmosphere of the planet and look back and see, oh, we're all on this green and blue dot together. And we just talked about multiplanetary existence, and we know that people in Dubai and the west coast of America talk about that quite a bit as well. So I think it is, and I know for a fact that Elon Musk just showed a presentation a couple of weeks ago about one cargo ship to Mars in 2022. So that's 5 years from where we are today. So I think this is becoming a reality as our technology is exponentially upgrading. And what it really like brings up for me personally, and maybe we can talk about that for a minute or two here, is the term evolution. It's like as if when we talked about evolution when I grew up in school or with anyone else, it's as if it's a history book and as if Charles Darwin made the laws of it. But evolution is something that happens every day. It's what we're
like. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I agree with you 100%. Like of that part of evolution, I'm very scared. Like there I see like I don't know, I hope we very, very soon develop some very intense and strong empathetic tools that will connect us all. Otherwise, I'm like very scared about like our evolution, because you're so right, it's not a history book. Now, like in August, the first human edited embryo was released in US. So like, yeah, of course, we have all the tools that you can imagine to completely change the path of evolution. And the only thing that is a barrier to this is for your financial resources. So if we are not moving very faster to the abundance equality Peter Diamandis talks about so much, where everybody has so much money and everybody's fine, we are about to face like a human bifurcation of the species. We'll have the super ultra mega rich that are genetically enhanced, that do have gene modifications, neural lace, that do have implants and chips that are connecting them to the internet, and they're super super smart, probably with their own AIs enhancing or augmenting their realities in the most like nice and perverse way you can think. But then on the other hand, you'll also have the humans that are not enhanced in any way, that are coming, not even, doesn't even have to be like Africa, it can be Europe, it can be America. Silicon Valley is the most poorest place I've seen. Like I've never seen so much misery that I've seen there. Like as I said, 10 years I lived in wars, but with all the refugees, I never seen so many homeless people as I've seen in San Francisco. So like
Wow.
just looking in the Silicon Valley, you can see that this is already happening. Like they have such glorious, such rich people, and yet those same people allow tens of thousands of homeless people on their street that they just skip and cross over. Like maybe I'm too European, like I don't know. I try to be very good, but for me, this is not the way I want to see humanity growing. Like definitely not the way. So yeah, I mean, we have to address this fast, super fast. We have to work on the empathy, especially in the tech world, advancing empathy in the tech world.
Super
Yeah, I
interesting
don't
what
know.
you're saying. So part of our evolution, you would say, is creating empathy, living empathy, being empathetic, and kind of furthering possibly the discussion of values and shared human values.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, like you were exposed to all this tech world, and like you know, it's everybody is like, yeah, we want to do this sustainable, blah 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 blah. Then you just like walk over the first homeless person you see.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
yeah, like
I can share a little personal anecdote, and it it's just a funny like little thing that happened. So I'm part of a project that's called Exploration Center, and we're a group of very dedicated people that is forming a part of the future of education. And we did a very successful crowdfunding campaign here on Vancouver Island, raised $170,000. We're planning to open doors of the first school in the fall of next year. Working on that very, very hard actually, because building a school, and a school with values and compassion and kind of human values at the core, but then also with exponential technology, is something that hasn't really been done yet. And please correct me if I'm wrong, people listening out there. Like I'm happy to be inspired by any project. So it's an interesting kind of journey, because it's not just some business numbers and some facts, and then you buy a place and you open up doors. Living those values and defining them, and then also walking that walk with each other, is an actual journey. And we were on a phone call with the principal of Ad Astra, which is the school Elon Musk founded at SpaceX campus. And we were listening to him, and certainly like an enlightening perspective around exponential technology. And we were like, oh wow, like you guys are really doing around exponential technology and giving kids access to that. It's a very privileged school because it's a very small school, but that's good as well, because we need all kinds of different models. When we asked him about mindfulness, meditation, and nature time, he kind of blanked and said, well, we're at SpaceX campus. There's very little nature here. And we moved on. We didn't even touch on meditation or mindfulness. And we were talking about nature for like 30 seconds. And I was like, wow, that's scary to me personally, because at the core of my being, I mean, even if we are evolving into some form of a cyborg organism, even if that's our future, we still are truly nature at the core of ourselves. Nature is our.
No, I understand. Like I don't know, if I don't do my meditation, I I cannot function. Like I feel so lost to, like, I have my own rituals and stuff, and it is, yeah, yoga and meditation daily. But yeah, I mean, I think this is like, I don't know. Have you read maybe the book Revolution of Russell Brand?
No, I haven't read Russell Brand's book, but
Yeah, no, this is one of my absolute favorites, and it is like it does talk about how it empowered himself, and how this is more like his 200 years vision for the future, and everything comes back to the humanity, to the core of us, and who we are, and how we interact and connect with each other, and regardless of all technologies. I think it always has to come back to this individual to individual, like human level. Are like, who are you? Like, who are you? This is very important. And what are your values? And how are you showing your values? How are you sharing your values? You know. So so for me, yeah, like I met this actually really amazing person during my summer in Singularity. His name is Kevin Adler, and he started this NGO in San Francisco after he finished his Global Solutions program in Singularity, like 2 years ago or something like that. And it's called Miracle Messages. So he solely focused on finding homeless people and helping them reconnect with their family, with their families or their friends, or somebody who can help them transition back into normal life. Yeah, it's just like amazing what he goes and interviews them. And this is the thing, this is the empathy. He's using exponential technologies such as videos and broadcasts and internet to bring these people closer to home. So yeah, I mean, this is one way to go.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Vesela, thank you so much for taking the time for this episode, for being on the show, and for sharing your vision for planet Earth and your dream. And well, thank you, Captain Planet.
Yeah, thank you so much again for having me. It was really a pleasure. Thank you.
I hope you love this episode of Green Planet, Blue Planet podcast with Vesela Tanaskovic talking about regreening the deserts of Dubai, global citizenship on the blockchain, and being Captain Planetman. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast either on iTunes or your favorite Android app. Have a look at greenplanet-blueplanet.com and be part of the Facebook group, also called Green Planet, Blue Planet Podcast.